All right, what up, guys? So the question that I've been getting a lot of is, hey, how come I can throw this far? How come I can throw far, but I can't necessarily translate it to the mound? So, obviously people kind of come to me with the question of, hey, I can throw 300 plus feet, but I can throw only 80 off the mound. Some relatively like that, essentially, how come I can throw far, but I can't throw hard, right? Two different things, apparently. But anyway, so I talk a lot about this. I talk a lot about there's a type of law, and I need to memorize it, but I can't remember. But it's the body will organize itself any way it knows how to complete the necessary task at hand. So this goes hand in hand with why I am a huge advocate of long toss, because it gives you a direct kind of interpretation of what your most powerful positions are, and as you're kind of moving throughout time and space, right? So to give you an example, and I'll try to link a bunch of content that I've done below in the description on basically this similar dynamic. But what we see, especially with a lot of younger kids, is when they long toss, they clean up extremely well. There's a mental aspect to it too, as far as like seeing a distance at, or seeing a target at a greater distance, and kind of putting that mentality, which is going to be different than potentially on the mound. So as far as like the physical component or the physical aspect of it, is what we see is younger guys don't necessarily have the authentic single leg stability to actually move the way that they do on the mound in their long toss. What do I mean by that? So what I mean by authentic single leg stability is that when you long toss, or when you do a shuffle fire, or like a run and gun, you're running into it or you're shuffling into it, and then you're slamming that drive leg, right, that back leg down into the ground, creating this like what I would call like an external type of stability. And then obviously, that's where we see a lot of things sync up. We see the ability of the athlete to hold and handle that force application into the ground, and then begin to transfer that, right? So when we see, or what the breakdown is when we see it on the mound, is they don't necessarily have that authentic stability, meaning that they can have that stabilizing of the force application in that drive leg, to do it without having to slam that drive leg into the ground, right? So just by sitting here, because obviously when you're pitching, you can't shuffle. So when you're in your stretch, or when you're in your windup and you go into your leg lift, we see a lot of breakdowns occur, because the individual kind of just will fall, and that drive leg will just kind of almost collapse, right? I think that's the terminology of that back knee collapsing. So it comes down to, I think for me, and looking at my clients, and I'll link some links down below for you guys to work with me remotely, but it comes down to, more oftentimes than not, it's about stabilizing and having the authentic stability in that single leg, to be able to not only express mass amounts of force and energy into the ground, but to be able to hold and accept that energy and accept that force, and then begin to transfer that. So that's, like I said, that's where I see a lot of breakdowns occurring, especially with young guys. There's guys that, even I struggle with this. There was a point in my career where I was long tossing like 400 plus feet, but I get on a mound, I'd throw like 90. So obviously there's a disconnect there. But like I said, I'll include links down below for you guys to take a deeper dive into this. This is a subject that I'm extremely passionate about. But yeah, I'll include all that stuff. And as always, be sure that you're staying locked in on everything that I'm producing. Website, therobbyrowshow.com. It's got all my stuff. And be sure to follow me on all the social media platforms and all that good stuff. But hopefully you took something from that. Hopefully you can help. And then you'll see options here in this YouTube video, I guess. I'm trying to do this more and often now, of subscribe and check this video out and check that playlist out. It's a pretty cool option. I've never really dove into it all that much, but hopefully you can kind of get a better interpretation of what I'm saying by looking at these types of buttons. Yikes. All right. See you guys.